Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first MyBC Consulting YouTube Live. And today I'm excited because we're going to be talking about the new business card tutorial with someone in my sphere of influential people that have hijacked my YouTube channel to interview me. So introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning, Jeanette. Thank you very much for letting me come on.
It's afternoon, Bob.
It is afternoon. I'm sorry. You know, I live in a different time zone sometimes. My wife says, "Where the hell are you anyway? What the heck?" It's really a treat to be on here, and I really appreciate you letting me hijack your YouTube channel to do this today. So today, guys, we are going to be talking about the new business card. What is a new business card, and how does it come together, and where does video fit into doing all of this? Well, we're going to find out, and we've got an expert on the show today to talk about that. My name is Bob Milliken, of course, and I'll be your host for today's show. Wait a minute. Sorry.
That's okay. This is real. This is like we cough. We're not like a studio and have a cough button. This is real life, people.
Right now we're real. Okay. So I just want to introduce Jeanette to you. Most of you probably know who she is, but she's got some secrets to share. And there's a few things about her that you probably don't know. So we're going to whisper quietly and discover a few things about Jeanette. So as you know, Jeanette's company, MYBC Consulting, very, very clever name because it's what it means is Move Your Bum Chum Consulting. I love it personally. She lives by three core values: connection, of course, collaboration, absolutely, because you can't afford to work alone, and community. And she's a specialist in community because we are one big community, especially in the social media world. Jeanette draws energy from helping others share unique to them W5 stories to all four corners of the world. It's a massive place. Social media and the internet puts your message out everywhere. This helps them to make real, unauthentic business connections on their social media and again within their communities. She shows people how to take their real life business skills and apply them to today's online social media world, with the result of pulling customers off social media and into their business. And how many of you have actually struggled with how to do that, because it's a real trick. Sometimes it just doesn't work very well. Jeanette helps businesses to connect with their target audience. That's a key word, target audience. And if you've ever had to sit down and struggle through defining what your target audience is, you'll know just exactly what kind of a mind-boggling event that can be. At any rate, Jeanette helps you to connect with their target audience on a more authentic level with their LIFTING, lifting up system. Using this system, she helps business owners overcome their fear of social media. Social media, I can't do it, there's no way. By showing them how to make true and genuine connections that really matter. Through her program, she lifts you up so you can learn to lift yourself up, and we can ultimately lift each other up. And who doesn't want that? Absolutely. So this is how you move your bum chum. Absolutely. Jeanette, it's such a treat to have you on the show today because I've known you for, I don't know, probably a couple of years anyway. Mm-hmm. And I'm an admirer and I in what you do, and I follow you quite religiously through your programs in the social media world. Today, you're going to provide us with some key insights that all business must know if they're going to be using social media, if they want to achieve their business goals. It's insights that many other consulting or marketing groups won't tell you because they don't want to, or because they don't know. And I think
it's that one. I think it's the latter.
I think it's the latter one too, as well, for sure. So on that note, Jeanette, welcome to the show.
Welcome to my own show on my own channel. I think this is awesome because one of my clients allows me to hijack their Facebook lives, and I interview them on their Facebook live, and then we use that video afterwards. So this is kind of fun, kind of flipping it around and having somebody else interview me.
Well, I've never been so upside down in quite a while, so I'm really appreciating this. Just don't turn me upside down and I'll be okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. Jeanette, can you give us a real quick overview on who you are and what you do and what, do I have the right list? Question list? Yeah, I do, sorry. What you do and what MYBC does and the type of clients you work with.
Well, I am what I love to call myself is a business relationship strategist. social media whisperer and a brand ambassadorship programs. And I do some social media content marketing for some clients of mine. And what I do is I help the business owners take what they do, their greatest self in business, and bring it onto the social media platforms in a very unique way using their W5 story, their who, what, where, when, why, and story to be able to find alignment on the various platforms to get people to be educated by what they are putting out there on social media. And when I say I'm a social media whisperer, I'm not one that is loud on social media. I'm not boastful about what I do. I love whispering out what my connections do in this world, what my community is doing in this world, because Bob, there's no greater gift when somebody else is talking about you, and then instant credibility when somebody comes back and goes, "Oh, Jeanette, thank you so much for tagging our event into this post." You're seen as a giver. And one of the best books I ever read a million years ago was The Go-Giver. And that's what I'm seen for, is just making sure that if I know something in community or some greatest self or event happening in someone else's life, I love to share it.
Well, thank you, Jeanette. And, if I could pick just a couple of things out of what you just said, the first one that comes to mind is W5. And to our listeners and watchers today, if you haven't participated in the W5 building in your W5 story, you are missing out. And I strongly recommend getting a hold of Jeanette to get that W5 story going, because you'll be a changed person by the time that's over. You won't have trouble.
I do them for free, because I feel that when you get your W5 story done and it's very clear in the lifting up system, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, the I stands for intentions, the N stands for networks, and the G stands for goals. But when you get very clear in your intent, it makes social media so much more beautiful and fun to use, as well as I get to learn people their W5 story. So when someone says, "Hey, do you know a real estate agent that, fill in the blank?" And I go, "Absolutely. I know a who that I can pass you on to." And what better way that if I had a high strung friend, why would I recommend a very, strategic and in the box kind of real estate agent? No, I'd want to match them up with a real estate agent that's kind of out there, and to make sure that person is feeling comfortable and not stressed out. So I love building who's in my life.
So Jeanette, just to underscore that point again, the fact that you do this for free, and I've actually gone through the program myself, it's an astonishing and amazing opportunity for someone to pick up on doing this. So thank you for reminding me that it's now for free. So Jeanette, I just have to know, what makes you so special, so unique, so valuable that business owners continue to use your services over and over and over again? What are the three things that people that say about love what you do?
They love how I find authentic reach, that I will go and dig around on and do my research on behalf of my clients to find them the right connections to connect with. They all give me access to their social media platforms, sign-ins, and I'm an admin on probably about 35 different social media platforms for my clients. And how I go in, I find authentic connections for them. Another thing that sets me apart is I show up exactly like I am in my reality on my social media platforms, because my guarantee in my BC Consulting is, Bob, get this. I boldly say, if you put a post out on any of the social media platforms that say, "Is Jeanette any different in reality as she portrays herself online?" And if you get a yes, I'll give you back all your money, because I want, and I'm teaching people, that's it. What else sets me apart is you're a beautiful, unique individual. Let's have that come out into the real world via social media. So that's what sets me apart. I want to be surrounded by beautiful, authentic, kind, caring, compassionate, loving people. So that's what sets me apart.
So
and
Jeanette,
I want to make an impact.
Good. I'm expecting right now to hear the sound of keyboards clicking away, going, and actually if that's exactly what's on your social media platform. Yes, I have known you long enough to know that everything you just said is absolutely true, in spades and much beyond that. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm curious though, what exactly did you do, or what attracted you to get into this particular odd niche in your business world, in your business life?
Well, I was asked this question yesterday by another fellow, and I made a conscious decision back in about 1983 in 1982 when I got my first job in retail. It was in a deli. And when I got that first jazz of helping someone and adding a little bit extra something and really getting to know the customer and their likes and dislikes and remembering their likes and dislikes, so the next time they came in to the deli, Bob, I made a conscious decision that I am a professional salesperson. And when I made that conscious decision, I went to the school of hard knocks. I went to the school of books and educated myself. And thus, as I grew in my career before I started my company April 1st, 2014, that I was that manager or district manager that if the company said, hey, we've got extra training, do you want to go to this course? Do you want to go to that course? Do you want to take this mentorship program? I took it. I absorbed that so much because I made that conscious decision of being a professional salesperson. And I love, love, love the customer. I love building relationship and knowing your likes and dislikes and what your pet's name is and colors you love and where you're going. There's no greater gift than being someone in someone's life and making their life better. So that's my answer to that question.
Wow, well, that's a heck of an answer. But, you know, if I could just get someone to put up their hands in what we're doing here, retail. How many of us started in retail? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I think every one of us started in retail. But Jeanette, you took that retail experience and made it into a lifelong passion. So you're a little bit different than most people in the retail world. I mean, we've all started in the McDonald's, or we went and worked at Safeway or something like that. But no, not you. You said, the heck with that noise. This is my life. This is my passion. Fantastic. And you're doing a super job at that.
Thank you.
So in that process, though, I didn't hear you say anything about what obstacles you had to overcome to get to where you are today. Can you share a little bit about that with us today?
Oh, some epic failures and key learnings along the way, and making mistakes. Unfortunately, at times with my staff in the way that I delivered messages, but stood back and learned from that. Other obstacles would be, Bob, working for companies that had tick-a boxes. I'm not a tick-a-box kind of girl. You know, at the end of the day where you had this form and all these little things had to be done in the day. That's an obstacle to me. To me, my purpose in whatever company that I work with or for is the customer. And sometimes checklists throughout the day and you get stressed out. It's, 9:00 and you're closing up the store and you have, oh my gosh, we didn't do this. We didn't do that. We didn't do this. But oh my gosh, we had a great customer. We had great sales. That stresses me out. So that would be an obstacle to understand that this girl is not a tick-a-box kind of girl. And that living in the moment for my customer is where I get my jam from, where my clients appreciate it too. Because I would say, I'm now more of an a la carte business instead of a tick-a-box business. I listen to my clients and put together a package for them that meets them. And that's why, being a social media whisperer, it's like, how do you want to whisper out what you do? Let's formulate a package like that. So obstacles, also being in the early 80s to 90s, being a woman and a manager was tough. And then my career previous to starting my own company, I was in the construction industry. And the obstacles of working in the construction industry, I was a hardwood floor project manager. And one story I'll share right now that's kind of fun is I was out learning how to grind a floor, because the subfloor prep is really hard. And you got to make sure the floor is nice and flat before the hardwood goes in. And my trainer at that time, we were in a concrete building out in Richmond, and I was watching him with the grinder on the floor, kind of the walls, they had kind of put the concrete a little bit curved and he had to get it very straight. And I went, teach me how to do that. And he's like, you don't have any knee pads on. You don't have any, you're just wearing your hard hat and safety vest and your safety shoes. And I said, I want to learn, because if I'm going to tell customers this is going to cost extra if your floor is not great. I have to know why. I have to feel it for myself. So I took my shoes off. I took the insoles out of my shoes, put them on the concrete, and I kneeled on my insoles so I could do the job and be taught how to do the job. So as a woman, you have to go beyond in the construction industry and do what the guys are doing and come up with the solution in order for you to learn. So that was a huge obstacle, but I overcame it.
So commitment to process, if you're going to be talking about it, is key. I'm a great one for saying I can do that, but I also do it. So lead by example is my motto as well. But you also said something about checklists. And believe me, I don't know one salesperson in the entire world that loves a checklist. There's a lot of things they say about no and how they say it. So yes, I can understand that issue about checklists for sure. So is there one specific moment or incidents that took you back on, that you look back on rather, and realize it was the turning point for your business?
I would say it was how I connected with people. And what this topic is about is honoring when someone gave me a business card. When I made that connection, Bob, I feel the physical business card is a gift of intent for people to follow up with each other. And that I made that relationship or conversation wherever I went networking over the years, and I had that person's business card, I treated it like a gift. And the turning point for me was in 2007, when I started at BC Hardwood as a project manager. I took that stock of business cards and I started utilizing the gift that they were to be able to connect online, to do that next step. Go find them on Instagram, go find them on Facebook, go find them on LinkedIn, and how I connected with them. And when they connected with me and we fostered that relationship, and I was able to build real people off of LinkedIn into my business when I was in the hardwood floor business, it really served me well, because when they carried through, and I had a virtual assistant take 20 years of business cards, Bob, and uploaded into my Constant Contact all the information, best money probably ever spent as a business owner. And when I sent out my first email blast, when I finally used the system, I had about 1,789 contacts in my Constant Contact. In that first email that went out, Bob, 17 only unsubscribes. And that's because I'd made myself memorable on my social media platforms with these people. And also in reality, I'd already showed up on other places. So when I showed up in their email box, it was like, well, it's about time, Jeanette, you're in my email box now, because we DM at all the social media platforms and you show up in reality for me and for, around us. So that was a turning point, is understanding the value of that business card and connection. That's the turning point. It was about connection.
So two key thoughts come out of what you just said. Connection, of course. And I don't know of any way you can be in business and not be connected with people. But the key that came out of your conversation, for me anyway, is the need for a database. If you don't have that database, you are absolutely not in business. You're not making money. There's absolutely no way you're going to do it. So that database is crucial. And I want to thank you for bringing that up, because if our audience today isn't in that frame of mind, then they should be calling us because they have problems. Mm-hmm. So, Jeanette, connecting with your customers on a social level is more important than ever today. And you've made that point very strongly so far. But measuring ROI can be difficult in sites like Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. So just how do you measure social media campaign progress? And
by the true engagement that's on it, by the amount of hearts or thumbs up, thumbs down, and the amount of people that really understood the message or video that was or the post content that was being put out, and they were spurred to jump into the comment box and to carry on, to give their voice, give their words away onto my platforms. I know I've had social ROI. Also, to the people that have sought me out to follow me because they like what I'm putting out there and what I stand for and how I follow up. So that's the ROI. Also, understanding the numbers. I'm all for putting out, making sure there's feelings and warm and squishy and communicating your message, but also digging deep into the analytics and finding out what your audience wants. What's the time of day that they like? What's the kind of content they like? And where to find this? Because, hey, that's what me on this side of the computer or this side of the screen on your phone is wanting. Oh, we got a honk. We got traffic jam on your side, Bob. We got a traffic jam. Oh, that's funny. But that's how I get the social ROI. And also that person that hops into my direct message and goes, Jeanette, we saw you on social media or saw that post. Love it. Hey, can we meet together for coffee? Can we have a virtual coffee? So that's also, I know that it's working, is people want to take the two-dimensional Jeanette that they see on social media and bring it into that three-dimensional world in reality.
So, Jeanette, thank you for that. But again, I just listen to what you say, and I find things in what you say to be really important. And in this particular question, what I found important was, although you didn't say it specifically, the message is key. If you don't have your message done right, people aren't going to connect. So it's not just a case of posting on social media, it's getting the correct message. And every social media component has got a different message component to it. So it's worthwhile learning that. The other thing you said, which is just mind-boggling to me, because most people don't do it, is understanding your numbers. If you don't understand your numbers, you're just flying blind. It just does not work. And the third thing you said, very out loud, was an ideal customer profile. Again, if you don't understand who you're talking to or who is going to be buying your products, you haven't got much of a hope of actually selling anything. It's sort of like shooting from the hip. So those three things are fantastic. Thank you for bringing them up. So, Jeanette, have you ever used social media to reverse the damages of a negative online review? Yikes. And how do you manage to flip that negative into a positive?
Not for myself, but definitely for a client. When they have had a comment that would have come on the bottom of a post that wasn't so nice, I'm all for social media etiquette and have in the past deleted comments or hidden comments on people's social media posts where it doesn't warrant energy about sending the person a direct message and finding out, why the person said what they did. Also, I have used social media for my clients to put out a very bold post going, we made a mistake. We are human and we've learned from this mistake. And we so appreciate that we have this opportunity to make these mistakes. On behalf of our customer, you have to be truthful. You have to be truthful and not make it an empty, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you felt offended, that we all read those. I'm sorry you felt offended by my post about blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not a heartfelt, I'm sorry. It's, I'm sorry that this message we put out or our service was not up to standard. We are working on it daily. We appreciate you taking the time to let us know. And that's something else, because within every negative review, there's definitely a grain of truth to get better in your business.
That's very true. That's very well said. The grain of truth, for sure. So I've been told in the past, just interested to get your reaction to this because you didn't say anything about it, but I've been told in the past, hey, you got a negative review, just get people to post 5 or 6 or 7 really positive reviews or some way around that and push the bad one down. But I didn't hear you say that because I think that is just a useless gesture and it's not sincere in any way, shape, or form.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Yes. So, Jeanette, is there one thing you found to be true in maintaining your business success that others commonly believe to be false?
Spending the time and blocking off time on social media is worth it. I believe the screen on your cell phone or laptop or tablet or however you put out your messaging is the new window display. And why in business, if you have brick and mortar, you put up a beautiful window display, or now it's the Christmas season and you get them to paint your window, is you want people to walk by and to come into your place of business. And spending that time, an hour a day, is like you are the part-time salesperson behind the screen when people are coming to your post and behaving. And it's a direct correlation to the sales that you're going to get is by meeting the customer as they're coming onto your social media platform with comments or hearts. So I would say that is probably the biggest misnomer. I believe I answered your question. And also, I'm a believer that this is the tool. It's a tool. It's like what you do. The automation is the tool. If something goes awry and your product or service doesn't work out, you still need to be a really awesome, approachable, kind, compassionate person, because we still do business with human beings. You may have automation that takes them all the way to the end and they buy and it gets shipped automated. But if something goes awry with that particular product and they have to return it, it's not a technology that returns it. You have to talk to the person themselves. So why not represent on your social media platforms truly who you are? So then when they have to reach out, your customers aren't afraid to call you and have those tough conversations with you.
Jeanette, as usual, you've given me 3 things that I wanted to comment on, because you have this skill to be able to bring the best of all of that out into the open. So I'll start with the first one that I really think is going on here. And that is that I read and I hear that being on social media in the mornings is the wrong thing to do. Don't do that anymore. It's wrong. It's not going to work. You're wasting your time. But what I heard, and I understand that, and I sort of agree with it, but just listening to what you said this time is be there, but be there with meaning. Be there with who you really are, and be there with an idea in mind of where you're going to get. It's not just a casual undertaking you do. Oh, I got to answer all these posts in the morning. It's much, much more than that. And the tool, well, it's any kind of marketing, which is what you're talking about here. This is a form of marketing. It's like a big machine. It's a factory, and it's got all kinds of bits and pieces in it. And if one of those pieces is broken, well, it's not going to work very well. So if your social media gets broken, and for most small businesses, social media is the way it's going to work, then you have a problem for sure. And the third thing, and you've said this a couple of times today, and I really appreciate you bringing it up again, and that is that, yes, you can automate. Yes, you can post. Yes, you can put stuff on Facebook. Yes, you can do all that. But if you don't pick up the phone or you don't talk to them in person, you might as well be throwing your voice at a brick wall. So you do need that personal connection. There's just no way around it. The automation just helps you deliver that personal connection to you so you can actually pick up the phone. So thank you for doing that. So Jeanette, here's a tough question for you. I love tough questions. Is there any situation where MYBC would not be a good fit?
Would not be a good fit. Probably a big company that is disconnected from their customer and don't understand that whole connection to the end user. Somebody who wants me to create content and post it and forget it. So just like create content, graphics, create, a social media campaign, and we're going to put this picture up and that picture up and that picture up, and just ignore it afterwards. And I can tell you, case in point, I worked with a real estate agent, and I worked with a high-end clothing company. And because I get access to all their messages as well throughout my social media manager app that I have, and somebody will comment on their posts, like they'll go, "Oh, I really like that coat. Do you have it in a size 12?" And I'll see it sitting there for like 2 or 3 or 4 hours, Bob. And to me, that's like a customer's walked into the store and went, "I want that coat right there. Can I have that coat?" And I will take a screenshot of that message, and I will text message the owner, go, "You got a live one. Can you please let them know?" And that's something that if they don't want someone who is actively involved on their platforms pretending to be them to get them sales, it's probably not a business I want to work with.
So again, you underscore that whole point about why social media is important and why you need to spend that hour a day or whatever you're going to be doing, because it's a similar situation in a telephone conversation. If I look at an ad that says, "Hey, we're great. We got delivery. We can give you the product that you want, etc." Call us. We'll talk to you right away. And you phone, and you have to leave a message, but you can't leave a message because the voice box is full, and so you just sort of hang up and you go someplace else for sure, even though it's a good product. So it's the same idea. You need to be on top of what's going on. Jeanette, what are your 3 favorite books or videos or seminars you would recommend to your clients, and why would you do that? Why would you pick those ones?
I love this question because I'm part of a book club, and we've read since the beginning of last April. We've read about 14 books in this last year. Wow. Number 1, To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. Probably one of the top books I've ever read. It talks about how you are the currency in life, that your value, your worth is exchanged for what's missing. Like if something's missing in your life, you have to give a little bit of your currency over to get it. Brilliant. I love everything of Daniel Pink. Last year, the year before, he came out with When. Again, really good book. Drive. Anything by Daniel Pink. Love his books. Very well written. My friend Larry Levine, Selling from the Heart. Incredible book as well. And I'm going to put on there a fiction book. Bob, is the fiction book that profoundly affected me was A Prayer by Owen Meany by John Irving. And it talks about, the storyline is about a very unusual little boy who has a handicap to what society says, but he's the perfect little boy in his own mind, and his triumph over adversity. And it's just a really great story. And I'm rereading it again. I read it probably about 20 years ago, and I'm rereading it again with a fresh set of mature eyes. I can't recommend that fiction book more, because it really mirrors how, as a society, we have to be accepting for all of our idiosyncrasies, handicaps, disabilities, abilities, in order for us to build this community that we want to live in.
So the fact that you left Dawn's book until the very end, and the fact that it's 20 years old, and the fact that you're rereading it again for sure, tells me that this author is an extremely skilled author, because he had a message that he wanted to get out and get people into his bubble, if you will. But he used fiction to make that work. So that is a skill in writing. So if you've got some time in your hands, guys, Dawn Irving, I would have recommended you get that book, and perhaps Jeanette could put those 3 books into the chat box. Do we have a chat box here? I think so. And so we can all have a look at that after this interview is over. Jeanette, when you are stressed, and I've never seen you stressed now that I think about it over a period of time, but I'm sure you do, how do you find peace again?
Looking around, I'm coming to you live from my home kitchen, and I look around. My home is filled with art. And from my travels, I've been lucky enough to travel in about 30 plus countries on 5 continents as in my adult life. And I can look back at a piece of art and bring back that story about where that piece came from, or the person, more so the person that I was with, or the artist that I met. That gives me a sense of calm and joy, and living through somebody else's creativity when my creativity is kind of waning, because I am in such a high creative state all the time for my clients. I would say art, like looking at art. And I'm talking about, it can be pottery, it can be a painting, it can be a wall hanging, it can be a musical instrument somebody created, is going back and honoring that person's creativity will definitely lift my spirits up and center me again.
That's rather astonishing, actually. Astute, excuse me. Let me put it that way. But art is static. And that's why I like what you said, because it represents a memory more than anything else, which is what you pointed out. And being static, you're not having to worry about the flow before, after, and during sort of thing. And it does bring back a particular point, because you wouldn't have bought the art if it didn't, or brought that art with you if it didn't have some connection. Yeah, right. So that's a very good point. I'm not sure everybody would find that particular way to find peace again, but in your case, I think it really works because you are a very high energy individual. No question about that. And that leads very nicely into the next question, Jeanette. What are the 3 ways you invest in yourself on a monthly basis? What is the percentage of your personal budget that goes into continuing education and self-improvement and making you the new Jeanette for tomorrow? When you get up in the morning, I'm ready.
Well, I invest in new books because, like I mentioned, I'm part of a book club. So Audible is an expense that I happily pay, as well as getting the physical book. Lately, Bob, I've been getting the physical book and listening to it at the same time to get a very holistic approach to learning. It's like I'm in the classroom with the author learning. I do like good coffee, so I invest in myself. I'm not I grind my own coffee and French press in the morning, and I don't put cream and sugar in it. So I invest in really good coffee. And the other thing that I invest in is I sponsor 2 children with Compassion Canada. I have a little girl in Ethiopia and I have a little boy in El Salvador, who I've met the little boy in El Salvador about 4 years ago. So I invest in others to make sure that their life is good. So that's how I keep myself grounded and feeling happy.
So investing in kids is a great idea because you never know, especially when they're remote from where you are. You talked about kids being around the world. You never know exactly who they are. Could be the next president of the world. It could be the next whatever. You just don't know. And so giving them the opportunity to become a little bit better than what their particular circumstance would allow them to be is an honorable thing for sure. So Jeanette, and lastly, we're sort of coming to the end here. Lastly, what is the one hack you would like to share with us this afternoon? One hack in life, the one hack you do.
Well, Bob, let's talk about the title of this tutorial, because this is the hack, is being able to take a video, whether it's a Zoom meeting and you're doing a presentation and you ask the person, can you record it? Whether it's going Facebook Live and using the video, or using like BombBomb, which is a video creation text messaging system. The hack is every time that you go live somewhere or create a video, you get to bring your whole self to that connection that you want to make. And it is so powerful that you're able to cut it up in snippets and capture even still photography from it. I have a video editing program on my laptop. I have one on my phone that I can run programs through and take little snippets. I then upload the video to my LinkedIn and my Instagram afterwards and my YouTube channel afterwards. So that's the hack. That's the new business card, is every time you are recorded somewhere, even audio. I've done it with sometimes, there's the traffic jam again where you are, that even when I've been on somebody's podcast that's audio, is being able to utilize that and send a text message. I invite you to listen as I, chatted with my good friend, blah, blah, so-and-so, like Adrian Starks on his podcast, and use it like the new business card of introduction. So that is my life hack to kind of wrap this up, is video. Like, you can't lie. Like, look at us, Bob. We're smiling, we're casual, but video can't lie.
No, that's very true. That's so true. But the one thing, you're right about the hack, and it's a slow lesson to learn. And I think that you hear, oh, you got to use video, you got to do this, you got to have this kind of video, etc. It can't be longer than 90 seconds. It can't be longer than 2 minutes. What they're missing is the point that you did very nicely there. And you can make as long a video as you want. But if you've got the capability to pull things out and repurpose all that content, you have got a gold mine on your plate. And you can use it everywhere. You can use it wherever and whenever you want. It's fabulous. And it's not just for marketing, which is where you would probably want to use it. It's all about you and your life story and what you want to say to different people. So for that particular point, I really appreciate you bringing that up. But it's the right hack for sure. So Jeanette, if the people listening today wanted to see if MYBC was right for them, what would you recommend they do?
Well, I'm going to put into the chat, check out MYBC Consulting on my, I got to spell that right, on the chat. I type it out so many times a day. They can connect with me in the chat or email me, mybcconsulting@gmail.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Ask to connect, start following me, send me a direct message, and I will definitely answer you. And let's connect, let's build, let's collaborate. And this is a collaboration. So many people think that collaboration, you have to have like a dollar end amount, or it has to be this big event or anything like that. No, a collaboration is just sitting down and exchanging time and expertise and skills to get a new message out and to build a community. Because I truly believe, Bob, we can do business anywhere in the world in these little boxes based upon our behavior on this side with the keyboard on this side.
Well said. So just to that point, actually, and just to underscore what you said, I recently got involved with a podcast emporium, if you will. And one of the pieces in that podcast was, hey, how can you travel and podcast and just get all your traveling in? And there's that a whole discussion around that. It was a book and a presentation said exactly what you just said. You can, if you podcast and you're okay on this side of the microphone, no matter where you are in the world, you've got the internet and you like to do these sorts of things, you can do whatever you want. It's so real. It really.
Oh, and I just want to wrap up. I'm going to recap something you said. Do you know when they said you can't have a video this long, that long, whatever? I want to challenge everybody or let everybody know who wrote the rules. If your video needs to be 45 minutes to get your point across, and you let people know ahead of time, hey, you're going to be in this for 45 minutes and you're really going to appreciate there's going to be great learning, then make it 45 minutes. Who out there is making the rules that say you can only do this and only do this and only do this? It's how you preface it to get the person to know that time well spent, whether it's a minute video, 5-minute video, or an hour-long video, like this one is approaching almost 45 minutes, that the investment is going to definitely pay off. So break the rules, make sure that you are doing and communicating what you need to communicate in order to get alignment with your target audience out there on social media and in reality. Because can you imagine, Bob, the rules that if you said, oh, we're only allowed to meet for a 5-minute coffee. Okay. So let's like TikTok. No, we don't do that in reality. So why would we want to cut ourselves off if you're in the flow of a good message on a live or on a video? Because you're going to leave something off the table that person deserves to hear.
Deserves to hear. Wow, that's exactly right. You know, I do a lot of public speaking, and in the public speaking area, one of the techniques is you create blocks of information, and you watch the clock. If you've got a time thing going on, you just figure out what blocks you're going to leave out mentally as you're going through your talk. So, and the people that don't hear you say that block that you didn't talk about don't know what they're missing, but it might have been an extremely important piece that you really wanted to get in there. Absolutely, for sure. The idea of breaking the mold is, you're the one that's in the boss, but when it comes to doing this sort of stuff, the underlying principle is plan it out, get it organized and plan it out ahead of time. Otherwise, it could not be a very effective use of somebody's 45 minutes, if you will. Absolutely. But if it's planned out ahead of time, it's going to work and it will be fine. So yeah, I had never thought about it in terms of breaking the rules, but I will from here on in. Thanks, Jeanette. So I want to really thank you for being a super guest on the show today, Jeanette. I appreciate your time, and I know that your audience does as well. We will look at the chat line and chat box and make sure that everybody on the show gets exactly what they're looking for. And Jeanette, if you can just want to repeat as a last closing piece exactly how people can get in touch with you, that'd be fantastic.
You can visit my website at www.mybcconsulting.com. Go over onto LinkedIn and find me there, Jeanette Y _Harvey Martin. You'll get the right Jeanette because there's about 5 or 10 Jeanette Martins on LinkedIn, and just link in with me. I'd love to connect with you on there so we can showcase each other's businesses and lift each other up on LinkedIn.
Perfect. So I'm going to go, and that's the end of the interview, and we can video it out. Now don't go away. So we'll cut this part out. Okay. For Thursday. There we go. Oops. Where'd you go to? Where'd you get to?
Hello.
Hey, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. For some reason, when I hit Leap Studio, it stopped.
Well, I'm talking to myself, so I've got my beautiful picture up with my pear in the background on the wall. So I figured.
Well, I just hope that it is. I did turn it off.
Well, you said
go over to my YouTube channel and see that it's not still, and you're still talking to yourself.
It's still live. It's still live.
It's still live?
Yeah, I've got a live thing showing here. Oops.
Can you leave the studio, please?